Cool. All right, looks like we're live now. So just gonna wait for a minute, and then we'll actually do things.
Does my shirt look all wavy? Look all weird?
You always look weird.
It doesn't have the effect that I think you're thinking of.
The Moira, whatever, what is it called again?
Moira?
Moira?
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, actually.
All right, cool. So I don't even know if there's people here or not, but if you have questions, you can do what John Reed just did and put them in the little question box, and we will get to them when we get to questions. I thought we could go around and introduce everybody, since there's members of the team that you guys might not know. So why don't we start on the right? Steven?
Hello, everyone. My name's Steven. I'm one of the software engineers here at RepairTech. Lately, I've been working on the web side of our newest product, Kabuto. I've been with RepairTech since November. Yeah. I guess Ian and Connor, you guys can go next.
So I'll go. So hello, my name is Connor. Typically, I handle a lot of different things, namely customer service and marketing and sales, and now I'm kind of also handling like a little bit of business development and transitioning out of customer service a little bit. I've been with the company for a long time. I don't even know how long now.
Late 2012.
Something like that, yeah. So a little bit, but yeah, so that's what I do.
Yeah, my name is Ian Alexander. I'm one of the co-founders here at RepairTech. I pretty much do whatever is not being done by everyone else. So right now that's partnerships and some customer service and some operation stuff and talking to customers. Why don't we skip for a second? Justin.
Hey, I'm Justin. I'm one of the co-founders and software engineers here. I've worked on quite a bit. Most recently, I've been helping Steven out with the Kabuto website. Normally, I work on Tech Portal, but I have worked on TechUSB in the past and TechWire for a little bit too. So, yeah. Let's see, Eric.
Hey, I'm Eric. I'm one of the co-founders and software engineers here at RepairTech. I work on TechUSB and Tech Portal, splitting my time between the two of those. Who do we have left? Garrett?
Yeah, I'm Garrett. I write Kabuto for Windows and TechWire and a lot of stuff. Yeah, that's what I do.
Ian. TechWire.
Right, I'm Matt. I do finance, accounting, customer service, graphic design, admin, background work, as far as administrative tax stuff. That's fun. And then dabbling in sales when need be. That's about it for me. And this is our new teammate.
Hey everybody, my name is Michael Fitch. I just got hired on the RepairTech team. I think my official title is Customer Success Manager. I'll be basically helping the team just operate smoothly by taking stuff that they're all hoping to do, like whether it be like answering tickets or helping answer questions, and I'll just all get concentrated on the work.
Cool. Yeah, we're really excited to have Mike on the team. especially with the launch of Kabuto, customer service has been pretty crazy,
Yeah.
and we definitely need the help because we want to make sure the customer service is still really solid, and Connor can only do so much, and we have to do other things now too. So, yeah, really excited to have Michael on the team. Just so you guys know, Michael doesn't know anything about anything right now. He hasn't been trained for a single day. So you can try to ask him about products, and we'll laugh at his non-existent knowledge of them. But
Won't last. Ignorance won't last, I promise.
so yeah. That being said, we also are really excited to talk about Kabuto. We launched that on Monday, and it's been a really fun launch. It was a lot better than our past launch. There are definitely some things that need to be fixed and kind of ironed out, but for the most part, there haven't been any fires. People seem to be really happy about it, so yeah. So we're happy about it. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions or anything, there's a little plugin on the Hangout on Air. You can click. I think right now the default is Showcase for some reason, but if you click that, you can change it to the Q&A, and then you can ask questions. Yeah, I think people might be interested in the stuff we're working on with Kabuto at the moment. So maybe Garrett or Steven, you want to like give us an update on the things you guys are working on?
Oops, yeah, I clicked the wrong button. Yeah, so Kabuto right now, there's a lot of smaller little launch issues that you can't really predict until you put it on a bunch of computers, which is what is happening right now. So right now I'm kind of working on little bugs people have found and kind of getting the beginnings of the feature requests going. So things like being able to download an RMM or just new triggers that people have been asking for. So, Steven?
Yeah. I think more specifically with those little bugs, we had a bug where it would create the device regardless of a successful installation, and that's definitely something we didn't intend to do, but we should have that fixed pretty soon. So, but it's been wonderful having a bunch of people using it, just to make it that much more better. Yeah.
You want to talk about the new add-on you're building?
Sure. So we got a lot of feedback from customers that they wanted an option to be able to remote in or use some kind of remote session software on a client's computer that has Kabuto on it. So we're like, well, okay, we can add that essentially by allowing the shop to provide an exe, and then when a customer requests service, they can click on that exe essentially, and it will run. So then we thought, why not? Why stop at remote session software? So our next feature will allow you to just run pretty much an exe or scripts or anything you provide on the client's computer. So this could be a script that runs Windows Update. It could be a script that runs Ninite. And then we're also playing around with the idea in the future to have like a scheduler or something, so these could run like every month or something. We hope this is like the foundation for more sophisticated integrations. Definitely right now we don't have the bandwidth to do full-scale integrations right now, but we're hoping that with this simple, first allowing remote sessions and other EXEs, and then getting more sophisticated integration. So should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, cool. Connor, do you want to talk about how we even came up with the idea for Kabuto?
Yeah. So that's actually a relatively common question. It was really interesting. So I was on the phone with a few different customers one week, and two or three of them in a row almost talked about this new feature for TechWaru or for TechUSB that would install a little app on the machine and just, I guess, provide an easy way for the customers to get back in contact with the shop who had provided service. And it makes sense, when you kind of dig deeper on this, you don't want your customers, rolling over to some, unnamed big box shop just because it's easier to find them, or that's, the easiest solution. And so we thought about it, did a lot of customer development on what, if we were to do something like this, what it would actually need and how it would function. And it blossomed out of a feature that would show up in a TechSuite into its whole new product. And then we started getting really excited about it at that point, because it definitely seemed like everyone that we talked to had just like this really positive reaction to the idea. And it's a little bit different from your typical RMM, of course, because it's more focusing on the interaction between the shop and the customer versus just providing an additional service. There's like a layer of polish and quality that really speaks well to the shop in terms of their quality of service. And so, yeah, everyone was really excited about it. And so we got a large group of people interested in beta lists and things like that. And that's when we decided, okay, well, we should probably actually start building this. So we I guess, dedicated two developers full-time to this, and then had people pitching in all the time for random things all over the place. Like Justin, for example, hopped in quite a bit. Ian hopped in occasionally as well. And over the process of, I don't know how many months it was, 3, 4, something like that. Relatively fast for a brand new product. We whipped it up and tested it heavily, and it seems like the reaction's been super positive. So we can be happier about, I guess, the reaction to the idea, how it came about. Through customers. It wasn't our idea at all. We we definitely got this from our users, our technicians. So started in the best place. Seems like it came out in the best possible way, and the reaction's just been so great. So that's kind of like the story behind it. Definitely don't want to take any credit for it.
I agree, we did it quickly, but we thought it was going to take a weekend.
Yeah, that too.
So
yeah.
I wouldn't. Yeah, but these things always take longer than you think they will.
Right. Yeah,
might as well get to John's question.
Yeah.
He wants to know if there's any plans for a monthly payment for Kabuto. I think that for any add-ons we make, there'll probably be monthly payments. I guess we haven't even really talked about making the base plan a monthly subscription. I guess I'm not closed off to the idea, but I think we just need to talk about it as a team. We haven't really considered it, to be honest. So yeah,
I guess we'll go back to the beta group and the users out there and see what their thoughts are on that, and see if the need's there and the opinion is strong.
Yeah. To be honest, John, you're the first person who has even brought that up, which is the only reason we didn't have it.
Yeah.
So, because the yearly fee's pretty low, so it's not a super. Yeah. Again, but monthly kind of opens it up for a little bit more of a flexible decision in that sense. I think one of the real reasons why we decided to do yearly initially, and maybe I'm just speaking off the cuff here, but it seems like that seems to be the reason, is because Kabuto takes a while to really show its value. You have to install it on a few computers. Those computers have to come back to your shop, and that kind of necessitates a longer period of commitment, I guess. And so that's probably where the yearly came from. But again, we really did try and keep the price as reasonable as possible, and to build on features so you can scale it up with your needs and how that user base for Kabuto
grows. So we're really trying our best to be as fair and as flexible with that as possible. But that doesn't mean that we aren't open to suggestions on how we can do it better.
Yeah. I mean, I think after every product launch, there's kind of a period of adjustment.
Tweaks. Yeah.
I mean, the last time we launched TechSuite was kind of insane. We were awake for like 4 days.
Right. I mean, that's a story in itself. I don't know how well you remember that, but that's a great story.
Better than I want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we launched TechSuite, we stayed up for like 4 days because we had made plans for a launch party, and we had invited tons of people, so we kind of needed to launch the product, and we couldn't just not do it. So we hustled really hard, and one of the things we had to do was we had to get TechUSB and TechWaru on one USB drive, and at 1 in the morning, we were sending out the launch emails at 6:30 in the morning, and at 1 in the morning, we realized that you can't do that because TechUSB has to be a certain type of partition or something, and TechWaru, I forget exactly what it was, but a fundamental aspect of the product wasn't going to be possible. So we had to completely redo some stuff. And I remember we ended up staying at the office till like 4 a.m. I ended up staying till like 5:30. We finally fixed it. We launched, and then I got a call about a bug report at 8 a.m. So 2 hours later, saying that everything was black.
Oh yeah.
So I had to go back to the office, and then I ended up getting really lucky in finding the problem, and that was that the colors we were using in TechWaru were not absolute colors. They were like system colors, meaning if you were on like if you were in Windows Vista, it was dependent on like a theme you were using, and we didn't know that. So in Windows Vista, if you were on like the Arrow theme or whatever, everything would just be black. So we ended up fixing that. That was kind of This time we learned a lot more.
Yeah. Tons of testing on our side. I mean, like the guys who worked on it can obviously speak to that a little bit more, but it seemed like everyone was way more thorough and spent a lot of time really trying to polish it before releasing.
Yeah. Matt Rodella has a question. First of all, how's it going, Matt? He wants to know if we're going to see a demo of Kabuto. Oh, you can select questions. That's cool.
Right, so you can select and stuff, yeah.
And see how it works. I mean, we did demos during this. It's not that. I guess you can, but I can't from this computer because this is a Mac.
Right, yeah.
So I think it would be better if we left that till the end.
Yeah.
And then we could do it.
Transition, yeah.
I could do it on this other laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So official answer. A little bit later.
Yeah, we'll do it in like 20 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Max, do you want to say anything about like the difference between this launch and the last launch?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the keys is that we had a large customer base to help us. When we launched the first time, we were completely unknown, and I'm sure the skepticism was at an all-time high, and everybody was, intrigued by what we were doing, but they didn't know who we were, and we didn't have a very good network at that time when we launched TechSuite, so it was really difficult for us to get feedback, have a trusted kind of circle of advisors as far as customers are concerned, and that wasn't the case with this launch. This launch we had a stellar beta group and tons of people that were able to help us tweak things, and I'm sure one could argue that we could have waited a little longer and done more testing, but I guess that's always a toss-up, and it seems like we kind of like to release a little early. But yeah, I mean, what Garrett was saying, part of the thing is like we can't keep it internal for too long because we need to get it on as many machines as possible. But yeah, I mean, the key difference is definitely the community that we have now. It's amazing. So we can't thank you guys enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we got some questions. Let's see here. Lauren asks, howdy fellas, I like the idea of Kabuto for my business customers, but I'm not sure it's right for individual machines. Have you had any feedback on this from people using it? Is it being well received by the customers or just too soon to tell?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, we're actually trying to make Kabuto super attractive for you to install specifically on your residential clients. We think that there are a lot of RMM solutions like GFI or whatever to say that are specifically built for business customers, and they're a lot more heavy duty. They have a lot of features that you may or may not be using, and you end up basically paying for those things because you charge your business clients more. Which is all good and fine, but the residential clients don't have the same benefit. So we wanted to build something that was a little more lightweight, but still had solid features, was built with modern software, and was really intuitive and easy to use, but also had a price point that enabled you to work with residential clients on it and not even necessarily have to charge them extra because you can get a return on it without charging them a managed fee. That's not to say that you can't, but you don't really need to if you look at the numbers. So I would say as far as being received well by customers, it is definitely received. We've had people on machines already and get custom branding and things.
Yeah, I think it might be too soon to tell. I don't know how much feedback we've gotten from technicians saying how their clients received it. I think it's mostly been technicians testing the software out so far.
Yeah.
So it might be too soon to tell.
The betas who hopped on earlier have been giving positive feedback, but that's probably like not the best example because they helped work on it and shape it and things like that. This broader release I think will take a little bit of time to get more feedback on and wait for that feedback loop to happen. Wait for customers to start coming back to the shop. But one thing to piggyback on Ian's comment with Kabuto, the main goal, like you said, was offering the residential clients, but the way that we wanted to do that was for you to scale up from 0 to whatever you need as easy and as cost effectively as possible. So there's no bulk subscriptions or packages of computers that you're buying. You're buying one individual device essentially to manage, or it's free, whichever plan you're on. So jumping in and getting your feet wet is no touch.
And I agree that we haven't gotten enough feedback to know for sure exactly how clients are receiving it, but we've gotten a ton of feature requests. So many. Yesterday we had to go through and we spent about 45 minutes or something just trying to sort them by priority. There's a lot of stuff people want, and that's awesome. So I hope that answered your question. Yeah. There's some more here, so we'll move on to the next one. Matt had a question. What are some examples of events that trigger Kabuto alerts? What were some of the more challenging alerts to capture during development? Garrett?
Yeah, so Kabuto uses, for the most part, the Windows service, WMI, which some of you may have heard of before, to basically monitor certain events. Some of it is the event log within Windows, and I'm just doing some advanced querying and keeping track of things. I would say that the so to answer the first question, example of events, right? So a lot of times what I'll do is look for specific event log actions like application crashes and stuff like that, and then I'll compare them to the previous time that Kabuto triggered and see if it's different and stuff like that. Challenging alerts, I would probably say
Well,
that...
give us more examples of types of alerts.
Oh, types of alerts. Yeah, so there's the firewall being disabled, there's needing a defrag, there's low hard drive space, detecting no antiviruses, smart test failures for hard drives, and application crashes and blue screen of death. So yeah, those are examples of alerts. Some of the more challenging alerts, probably defrag. Defrag probably required the most like deep reading into how Windows determines that, and then probably next would be antivirus, just because there's a lot of small little nuance changes between operating systems in Windows, and it became tricky to get the same effect across multiple operating systems. So, yeah.
Cool. Okay, what's the next one? Derek says, oh, here, I'll select it. Derek says that the installer is leaving some DLL files outside the exe, and he's sure we're aware. Yeah, Garrett and I just talked about that this morning. He's working on the installer right now, so, well, not right now, but he was working on it before and last night, so that should be fixed up soon, as well as some other improvements in the installer. Some people were talking about the fact that it requires a company name and the white labeling in the installer, so those things are all going to be fixed. So, there we go. There's also some issues with false alerts with the device manager. Yeah, we've heard about that. That's a new report, I guess. We didn't know about that during beta. I've heard the same thing with USB drives when you plug them in. It shows an alert, so we already have that on the dev queue. We're going to figure out a way to fix that up. I actually looked at the metrics today, and Device Manager is like by far the most triggered alert. So I think it's like 45% or something like that of the triggers. So
can't we just place the blame on printers?
What's that?
That can't we just place the blame on printers? I think that's the real issue.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so we have another question here. So can Kabuto be translated to other languages, or at least the parts that the customer would see? You guys know about that?
Yeah, we got that request yesterday. I would love to translate it into other languages. It's been in the back of our minds that we've wanted to add language packs to TechSuite as well, and I've actually talked to a bunch of people about how we would do that.
Yeah.
So at some point we're going to have to add support for language packs, and that's going to take a while, but once we do that, then it'll be really easy to translate it into multiple languages. So I think that if we were to limit the scope to just the Windows app, and we were to worry about the dashboard later, it would actually be pretty easy because there's not that many strings in there. I mean,
all
like,
alerts.
Just as an example, like, Steven, let's say we were to let them customize every single string in the Windows app from the dashboard. And then Garrett was to pull that stuff. I think they could probably type it in whatever they want, as long as it is, what is it, Unicode or UTF-8 8 or something, whatever, as long as it's in that character set, it would probably work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Cool. So
there's
yeah,
a way of doing it.
doable. Yeah, certainly
Yeah.
doable. And that sounds like one of the better ways to do it, at least initially.
Yeah, we'll see. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sure they might want to customize the alert messages anyway.
Exactly.
Okay. Got another one here. Lauren, will Kabuto on the client's machine be branded for us? Yeah. You just upload your branding and then it's custom branded.
Yeah.
Pretty easy.
Yeah. It's in there. Yeah.
It's in
It'll
there.
take up to 6 hours to update on computers that already have it installed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The Windows app syncs every 6 hours with the online dashboard and we'll pull the newest stuff, so pretty slick. Yeah. Cool. All right. So I think we got through most of the questions. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in there. Otherwise, I think we're just gonna like hang out for a little while. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's been a busy week.
Yeah, it has. Yeah.
When are we thinking of doing the demo?
Oh, all
Guess
right.
we do that while we wait.
Yeah. Okay.
I wonder if we can just stream. All right. I have an idea, Max.
Oh yeah. Okay. I like this.
Okay.
So we're gonna be streaming the demonstration video.
It's the big logo or the small logo.
I would imagine it's a small one. Yeah. Okay. That's fine.
Okay.
One thing we might want to do is mute it and then narrate on top of it. Just make it live. I'll go back to the.
Okay, well, you guys talk about other stuff. We will figure out what we're doing.
What about Matt asks, any plans for a Mac client?
Garrett,
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about demand, I think, at this point. It comes up now and then. I think once we kind of get the feature set for Kabuto that we have kind of planned in phases, along the way, I imagine that we will try to get an overall consensus for how many people want it. And I think if it's substantial enough, then we do it. But for now, we have. What was that?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. For now, we kind of have a few phases of features that we want to roll out for the Windows version, and while we're doing that, we can kind of determine the demand for the Mac client. But it's not off the table.
I think one of the big things that people have asked for, like a similar TechWaru for Macs, and the question is, what kind of tools do we add? And it seems that everyone wants a tool like that, but nobody quite knows what to put in it. There's starting to be more Mac programs that computer technicians can use, but Macs just don't get repaired as often, or they don't need it. But same thing kind of goes for Kabuto. There's not all of the triggers translate to Mac. So if there are other triggers that we can think of besides just the hardware issues, give us some feedback.
Okay, I think we have. I'm trying to figure out how this YouTube.
Newfangled technology works.
Right. So we have a Kabuto walkthrough.
Every single device that you've installed the Windows application on. For each device, you can see.
I think you got the audio.
We've got another question, though, which Oren asked, how often does this phone home and how much bandwidth are we talking about? Or it does right now 6 hours. Every 6 hours, if the computer is running, then it will just kind of do like a small little sync up. It's nothing heavy at all, really. There's not even really any downloading of anything. So all it really does is a quick web call. It gets any changes that you make to the features, to the triggers. Like if you change the settings up a little bit, if you change your shop information, so like if you got a new phone number or you change your hours for a particular day, and then if you change your branding, right? If you get a new logo or something, it checks all those things in one call. The only thing that would have to be downloaded is if you changed your branding, it would download the picture, but that takes about a second. And then that's once, and then it does that. So it checks the triggers themselves every 6 hours. So the first thing it does is check for any changes to your configuration, and then once it's done updating that, then it checks the triggers and then goes to sleep again for 6 hours. So it does everything at once. Pretty low bandwidth. I mean, I haven't seen it pop up. It usually tends to stay at the bottom of my task manager, even when it's doing stuff. And then once it's done, it goes back to sleep.
So like kilobytes, very small.
Yeah, it's pretty insignificant.
Cool. Well, we were going to stream the YouTube video that Max made that was a Kabuto walkthrough, but we have no idea how this hangout thing this plugin works. So what we'll do is, I think we will...
Hey guys, hang on for a sec. So we also have people commenting on the Google Plus page. So Arturo asked a couple questions, one of which is, can techs share their own presets with other users? So I'm assuming that means other RepairTech, like customers, not other tech. So you can share your presets with other technicians within your own account. Currently, we don't have a way to share presets to other technicians. But
would they be able to export it and then share the config file, and then they'd be able to copy and paste
so that's where I was
going for a preset.
Mm-hmm. So that's where I was going next, which is we could post a guide on how to post your preset configurations on the forums or wherever, and how to import them while we come up with a system for that. But it is doable, and I'm going to make a note to write up a guide on how to do that in the meantime.
But yeah, that is something we've thought about. We've thought about adding kind of a community for building presets and tools and sharing presets that you guys use for certain scenarios with other people, and it's been on the back of our minds for a while.
Thanks for that question, Arturo. Okay.
Any more, Garrett?
No. And also, Arturo also said that he's seen lots of Macs infected lately, and he would love to see a TechWaru for Mac, or TechMaru as we call it.
TechMaru.
Only
a cute little cat picture.
We're not
calling
it
it TechMaru. No.
There's no way.
There's no way.
We don't. Yeah.
TechWaru was hard enough.
It makes it worse that M is a W upside down.
Right. Yeah, it's just petty.
I just added on the showcase, if you go instead of the Q&A, the showcase, there's a Kabuto walkthrough video there. Yeah, if you want to check that out.
We were going to try and do it live, but
yeah,
it didn't really work out.
Derek had a question. This is, let me select that question. Hold on a second. He says, this is for TechWaru. Wondering if there's an update on the fact that we opened a ticket about auto runs not being able to run when we launch TechWaru. Got it. Yeah, I believe, Garrett, that's on the...
Yeah. So that bug is becoming way more like frequent recently. When it started, there was one person that commented on it. It might have been Derek, I'm not sure. And I couldn't replicate it at first, and then I also had to work on this Kabuto launch, and then in the last few days, I would say it's become way more relevant. Lots of people are reporting it, so it's probably the first thing I'm going to look at when I work on 151 this week.
Which is the next version of TechSuite.
Yeah, sorry, that's the next version of 151.
So, working on it.
Yeah.
Right. So, are there any other questions on the Google Plus page, Gary?
Not for now.
Okay, cool. So, oh, there you go, another one. So saw a teaser for an Android app on TechMe. How's that coming along? Good question, Oren. Yeah, so that continuously has been a topic of discussion. As of right now, I'm just trying to build up the interest to really justify, like, putting the development time into it. Numerous times over weekends, developers have made like great leaps at stabbing into like the initial stages of the app, and the interest just wasn't there initially for this, and then plus Kabuto seemed like it was going to be in higher demand, so we kind of allocated resources that way. So that's why we added the interest list to really quantify that. So hopefully when people are going to Tech Portal, they're adding themselves to the interest list. Last time I checked, that number was still relatively low, sadly. And so we're trying to do things based off the numbers and really allocate dev time based on that. So short answer is it is not going to be out for at least a little while.
It's kind of a funny story, actually. We had an intern that was working on the Android app,
right,
and he got it. Justin, how much percent, or Eric, what percent done would you say?
Like 1%.
Like 1% done.
Yeah.
And he took like a year.
No, it wasn't a year.
Okay, how
Don't
long
exaggerate.
was it?
They'll take that seriously. They'll think that
How long was it?
Well, he just got busy with school and other stuff.
Yeah. So we had that.
Eric and I have been thinking about slamming it out one weekend.
That's when we start making the announcements about it.
I started working on the Android app, and then I realized I don't know how to program, so that.
You should.
Story.
You should just show up one day with a working Android app.
Yeah.
I would be really impressed.
Right, yeah.
Spend a lot of money on some overseas development or something.
Yeah. So it's been kind of interesting, I suppose. But yeah, so it stopped and started and stopped and started and.
Justin and Eric were talking about doing it in a weekend.
It will.
Justin, maybe we should do it when I come up there in a couple weeks.
Okay. I think I could do that. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how Kabuto goes. Hopefully, it doesn't just absorb us, and then RepairTech just turns into Kabuto, and we. I'm just kidding. We wouldn't do that, but but clearly, it could turn into quite a big thing in terms of development.
Is there a way to do a poll here? Probably not. I'd be curious to know how many people use Android and how many people would be would find it useful to have push notifications for things like manual intervention and like queue completed, something like that. Because we don't really have that on the iOS app either.
Yeah, it's been a while since the iOS app got an update.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another question here. What was the meaning behind Kabuto, the name? So I'll let you answer that.
I thought about it while I was sleeping.
I'll take a stab at it.
Well, initially it started off as just the project name.
Yeah, it was going to be the code name, and then we couldn't really think of anything better.
Yeah, it kind of stuck. And Kabuto is a Japanese term for like a samurai helmet, I believe. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong. And then there's also the name for the rhinoceros beetle in Japanese is Kabuto mushi. And then there's this show that we all enjoy, and the character has a weapon in that show, which is actually like the same as the logo. I designed the logo off of his like slingshot, and I believe his weapon is also called Kabuto.
It is.
So it's kind of odd. So that's really roundabout answer there.
A lot of people. Somebody asked me the other day if it was based on the Pokemon.
Oh yeah, and there's Kabuto, and then of course like the little joke there is that Kabuto would evolve, and it was
It's all our favorite unsung Pokemon hero.
right, yeah, exactly. It's all our favorite Pokemon. We all got together one day, yelled out our favorite Pokemon in unison, and we all said Kabuto. And no, that didn't happen.
Okay, I hope that was enough detail.
Right. Yeah. I think we sufficiently answered that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and if there are any questions out there, please submit them. I'm happy to talk about whatever. TechSuite, Kabuto, favorite TV shows, favorite foods, favorite date destinations, walk on the beach.
Hey there.
Walk on the beach. Yeah. Well, I mean, if there are any questions, then we can always just cut this off early, I suppose, as well. So there's no commitment that says we have to like hang around for this.
Yeah, I was content with actually doing it though, because that means that we can put off answering all those tickets.
The nice thing is that they're mostly just questions. They aren't like, hey, you guys really messed up, I hate you. It's
right. Those are not.
Yeah, those don't really happen that much, and especially not. As opposed to been like, hey, this is great, but you need this, or it doesn't work on whatever.
Well, one of the funny things that keeps happening is when I answer tickets, people ask questions, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good question, and then I go write a Help Center article before I respond to them,
right?
And then I post a Help Center article in the response, and they say, oh, my fault, I should have read the manual, and the manual didn't exist.
Next time you should say, thanks so much, because of your question, I wrote this handy article.
I do say that.
Yeah, it's not like you're swindling them, but.
We could talk about some of the kind of more long-term, exciting feature ideas for Kabuto, just for the fun.
For what?
Thanks, Oren.
Yeah, thank you, Oren. Really, let's, I guess, bring that up, say that we're answering it. Thank you, Oren. We appreciate that. Definitely the goal.
Oren, you're great. Yeah, I was saying maybe we could just mention a few of the more long-term kind of interesting feature ideas for Kabuto.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
We've had a lot of requests for managed AV and managed backup. So those are kind of bigger feature things that we're thinking about. We're definitely trying to gather a list of antivirus vendors that people like. It seems like MCSoft is the most popular right now. So we are in talks with a lot of those different vendors just to see what we can work out with them and what they already have in place as far as our RMM integrations, and basically playing the field and seeing what we can do. We've talked. My list right now of people to talk to is MCSoft, Malwarebytes, Bitdefender, WebRoot, and there's another company called Reason Core Security. They make HerdProtect, and they also have a resident antivirus scanner that pretty much nobody knows about because I think it's brand new, but it's cool and it uses like 36 antivirus engines. So we're talking to all of those companies and seeing what we can do with that, and we'll see. As far as managed backup, my inclination would probably be DealWare just because we're partners with them, but it would be nice if we could give people multiple choices. So yeah, and
We
then
got another question from Arturo on the Google Plus page.
Oh, cool.
He asks, when configuring Kabuto, do I have to enter all the requested info? I just need a name and phone number. We just removed the restriction for company name because a lot of people were complaining about it. Yeah.
did you release that yet?
No, I have not released that yet, but I removed the restriction. You still would have to put in email, but we might be able to change up the
You could probably
validation
put one or the other.
to make it, yeah, as long as there's, I can change the validation, so as long as there's one or the other, then it'll be okay. And then if there's both, then it doesn't care.
Yeah.
Thanks for the question, Arturo.
Yeah.
Also, Derek just asked this.
Yeah, so Derek's next question actually leads into the other big thing that we're working on right now, which is, Steven mentioned it before, basically the ability to upload any executable to the Kabuto Online dashboard and then have it in the taskbar menu. So right now, if you right-click on the taskbar icon, you can click Request Service. We want to make it so you can put multiple things in there with customized titles and then have them associated with an EXE on the Kabuto Online dashboard. So if you wanted to put Seed Cleaner in there so that your clients could clean up their own computer, and that's just part of something you wanted to offer them, or you wanted to put a like an antivirus scanner in there, you could definitely do that. So it would be up to you what you uploaded, and I'm sure at some point we would have command line parameters so you could automate things. So 9.9, so you could have updates done, or you could do Windows updates if you want to upload some batch file or something like that. You could also upload your TeamViewer executable, like Derek said, or you could upload your Screen Connect agent or whatever. So we're pretty excited about that because it's kind of a foundational feature that lets you do a lot of other things.
CRMs is the next question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, well, maybe help desk too, which I already mentioned. You guys go that would really rock. Yeah. So integrating with a CRM is definitely on the menu. I mean, I'll let either Ian or Max discuss that. They're more in it than I am.
Yeah, I would say that off the bat, the first one we're probably going to do is Repair Shopper. That's the most popular integration in TechSuite. So we have a lot of customers that are also Repair Shopper customers. So that's kind of our highest priority. After that, I would say mHelpDesk is probably the first CRM we would integrate with. That being said, we already have the code, really, because we already integrate with them. So it's not like these things are hard to do.
And that's just an obvious choice for something like Kabuto.
Right,
to integrate with, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we definitely want to have CRM integrations. We probably will make a generic integration so that you could be using...
Similar to the webhook or...
Yeah, like the webhook, which I feel like people don't really use in TechSuite, but it's super crazy, and you can use it to integrate with like anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we do have integrations with most of the CRMs, so...
Yeah, but you could, I mean, if you don't use one of those, I know people have homegrown CRMs sometimes, or they use one that we don't support, like Repair Tracker, we don't have an integration for right now.
Right, that's yeah.
So,
you're hosting it, that's something special.
If you didn't know, we do have a nice blog post about using If This Then That with our post hook for custom integrations. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff with If This Then That.
Yeah. Justin, if you could pass that link, you might be able to put that in the showcase and point that out if anyone was there.
All right. I'll see if I can find that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if anyone besides Ian and Connor has access to post on the showcase.
Okay. Well, you could shoot it to us through Slack.
Yeah, if you want to Slack it to me, I'll put it on the... Slack it to me just sounds cool.
I was initially opposed to the idea because it's like has to be a Kleenex versus a tissue, or let me Google that versus let me search for that. Like, I mean,
Yeah, but we're talking about Slack though.
I know. I know. Yeah, that's fair.
Whatever. I'm just saying it sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to send me that, I will put it on the show.
It looks like there are no other questions right now.
All right. Well, how about this? We'll let the dev team get to work.
Okay.
So Eric, Garrett, Justin, Steven, if you guys want to take off and get to work, you're more than welcome to.
Awesome. Okay.
But thank you for doing this. This was fun. I'm glad you guys got some exposure to our customer base because they don't know who you are.
My mistake, it was Zapier, not if this then that.
Yeah, Zapier's definitely a little bit.
That's not the link.
That's not the link? Okay.
No, hold on.
There's the. There it is. Arturo has a question I don't think we got to.
Okay.
I don't see where Kabuto can alert me that there are, say, Apple software updates or other software updates. I know this is silly to ask, but I have the weirdest clients that don't know how to do anything, and knowing that their computer needs updates could be great. We understand. Yeah, people don't update their stuff. It's
not uncommon.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that managed updates could definitely be a thing. We really like the idea of being able to integrate with Ninite, because then you could just put in the command line parameters for it and say update only, for example, and you could have it run on a schedule once we have that feature in, and it would automatically update their stuff. So I don't know if that solves your problem, Arturo. Another thing that we were thinking is maybe we could pull all the apps installed and their versions and put them on there. We wouldn't necessarily be able, on the dashboard I mean, wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you if it's out of date, but at least you would know what version it is for every application installed. Let's see here.
Cool, yeah, we got some good questions.
Yeah, we have another question here. Are you planning to use or to incorporate some maintenance tools into Kabuto?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, where maybe TechWaru could be viewed as a maintenance utility, integrating with that kind of makes just too much sense. So we definitely have at least tossed around the idea of connecting those two. And say, for example, I mean, this is just off the cuff. If you need to hop into that computer, or maybe you just want to remotely, click a button that says run maintenance preset with TechWaru. I mean, there's probably a much better way to say that, but we could set that up to make that happen. That's definitely a possibility, and we already have, at least what we think is like a pretty awesome, maintenance tool or repair tool, and so using that just makes a lot of sense. So yeah, it's definitely on the radar, and it's certainly something that we will be developing down the line. I think right now we want to build up the core functionality of Kabuto just a little bit initially, if I'm correct, before starting to integrate with other things. But yeah, it's definitely on the radar. Good question. Very good question.
This is kind of this. I'll take this one. This is kind of the same question, but it has an additional caveat.
Yeah.
As far as D-Support Suite goes, and really anything that Nick makes, like, to be honest, we don't really look at it. I know what D-Support Suite is, but I'm not going to pretend I know what it does.
Or like the main value that has versus something else.
I mean, I think I understand the general premise of it, but I really don't know We just don't care. We're not looking at what Nick's doing. So it's if you want to ask a particular question and tell us what you actually would like to see in Kabuto, we would be happy to tell you. But I don't know enough about these supports to compare. To compare, yeah. I don't know what features it has.
So, okay, regarding this one, I at least have two answers, Oren, and they're going to sound really silly. So the first is presets.
Connor, can you
I was
restate?
going to say that one.
Connor, can you restate the question?
Oh, yeah, okay.
The next one.
I think the viewers can see it, but I could be wrong. So you guys all see the product use, TechWire, TechUSB, and so on. Are there any features that you don't see being used that you feel would be really beneficial? So yes, to restate what I was saying, I at least have two answers right now, and the other guys might have other ones that they want to contribute. The first is presets. So it boggles my mind why when you have the capability at least to take what we've given you and kind of add to it or modify it in a bit to make it work for you, why you wouldn't want to do that, save it, and use that. I talk about this all the time in the webinars when I give them, and so does Ian. When you set up a preset, you set it as the default, and you get the repair down to one click. And it's nice, and that works for a lot of the time, especially if you've built a really solid preset. And we feel like
or you've built lots of presets for lots of different scenarios.
Yeah, and so using the presets to cover a lot of different scenarios and also kind of tailor them to your shop and how you would run things. That seems to be like an underutilized feature to me. That I guess it kind of just facilitates the full power of TechSuite's core functionality.
Yeah, of the full queues of tools that have been run, only a relatively small percentage of them load a preset before even potentially modifying it to run it. So.
Yeah, so using what we've given as a template to add on or what have you, yeah, it's definitely underused. The next one that was on my list was custom report layouts. So that's a feature that was actually like, I wouldn't say it was hidden, but it probably wasn't the most visible thing. But essentially that feature, for those of you who don't know, allows you to take the layout of the report and add and subtract various elements of it. So for example, you could pull out the number of tools that were run or the duration of the repair. That's a common one because everybody knows that doesn't really communicate the value of the repair. It's selecting the right tools and the wherewithal to know what the output means and things like that. Like, there's a lot of value in that. And so putting that duration up there kind of demonetizes that effort a little bit, especially if you're using TechWire and the repair takes 20 seconds. So you can remove that. You can also take out the massive amount of detail in reports and add in a summary instead, where you just list the number of tools or the list of tools you've done. Or you can even remove that if you wanted to. And the point is that it's customizable, and you can shape it to have a customer-facing report or a technician report or something that's public-facing. You can just email them. So there's a lot of functionality built in there, and the usage on that seems to be a little bit lower, but we think the value could be higher, or the value is higher. And so one thing that we've been trying to do, and we've thought about this a lot, is adding features onto that. But if the usage is low, we're not going to do that, right? And so got a lot of bright ideas, but feature on that, or the utilization on that is relatively low. The last one is custom branding. If people use custom branding and slap their logo on their reports and things like that, more professional face, better looking reports, hopefully. So there's some value in there as well, and that's probably the last one that was on my list. I don't know if any of you guys have other ones to add.
But I think we look at those numbers all the time, and I think those are the numbers. Yeah, those are the ones. Custom branding, it kind of blows my mind. It comes with it. I don't know why people don't custom brand it. And then the report layouts, like 2% of people use report layouts, and it's like the coolest feature ever. So Yeah. Let's see.
So yeah, good question, Oren, and thank you. I mean, that's it's what we spend a lot of time on, so it's kind of funny to actually hear that voiced, publicly. Usually that's a more internal thing to kind of like feed how we, choose what to work on, and so it's not really something that's used light of day much.
Yeah, this one?
Sure, yeah, okay. So answer my last question via help file. Okay, anyways, another good thing to do is email us when a trigger sets off rather than have us monitor the dashboard all the time, or is that already in place? That's a good question.
Steven?
Yeah, Steven, I think you should answer that one.
Yeah, we have so we have two events that you can receive emails for, and you can toggle them in the settings and then the account tab. And one of them is right when you receive a new request, you get an email, and then the other one is like a daily summary of all the alerts that occurred on the previous day.
So do they have to have monitoring on those machines to get the stuff added to a daily summary email?
I believe so, yes.
Or if somebody has submitted a request, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you said earlier.
Yeah, the request one, of course, you don't have to have monitoring, but for the daily summary of alerts that went off, I think you have to have monitoring on the machines that you would get emails about.
Right. And I'm sure anyone would agree with me here. The summary was the ideal choice in this case, just because of the volume that we would expect a normal account to get. Again, we're kind of like waiting on some of this data to come back yet. How many triggers are going off every day, every hour, things like that. But we would imagine that it's going to be relatively high. An application crashes, for example. If you have that turned on, that'll send you an email. Yeah, you probably don't want that. You probably want like a summary every day and say like, okay, it looks like you had a few issues yesterday. Do you mind if I remote in? Also, here's my bill. So
it's also worth noting that for each Windows app, it can only show one alert to the client per day, because we don't want to bombard them with alerts.
Good.
Yeah, we want to make sure that they're okay with the user experience. So it only shows them one pop-up per day.
But the technician will get all.
But yeah, the technician can see all the alerts, but we don't want to annoy the client.
Yeah. Getting back to that, I guess if you wanted to hit that one real quick, yeah, we can knock it out. Yeah, getting back to the concept of combining Kabuto and TechWater. For those of you who might not have been here, yeah, it's definitely on the radar, and we're really excited about it. So yeah, thank you for that suggestion, and I guess prompting us to talk about it, because it's definitely something we really want to do. Okay. So Derek had a good question here. Time trigger in Kabuto 90 days. What does that mean? Garrett, do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. So the time trigger in Kabuto is kind of an interesting feature, because if your client's computer doesn't have anything wrong with it for a long time, you still kind of want to pop in and remind them that you're there. So we had this requested a lot in like pre-development when we were talking to a lot of people. So what the time trigger does is it just pops up at a specified amount of time. The default is 90 days, but you can set it to whatever you want. And all it does is pop up with a little, the same trigger box, but instead of there saying that there's a problem, it just says, hey, we're just checking in. Do you have any questions or need our help with anything? And it's just kind of like a reminder for them in case nothing's going wrong or nothing is getting caught by Kabuto, but they might have something that they want to check in with you about.
Yeah. Good answer. Good question.
Also totally configurable as far as the time goes.
In the settings area of each device on the dashboard, you will see the ability to configure it whatever you want. Yeah. It can't be less than a day. That's the only. It's the minimum. The minimum time frame is 1 day.
Although that would
I
probably be.
hope nobody's using that.
Yeah. You should probably set a minimum to be actually like, I don't know, a week. Most frequent. That'd be so annoying. I mean, everyone hates getting Windows updates. Imagine an update to Kabuto every week.
Alright, so the next one is I like the support suite with regards to being able to run automated maintenance on a regular basis. But the reporting side of things lacks as it just sends an email, and if you have customers, you can't keep up anymore with checking all these emails. Right, I think the web dashboard is an incredibly important part of Kabuto, and it makes the user experience much better for you. The automated maintenance thing is totally something we can do in the long run. We have TechWaru, obviously, that can do all kinds of stuff. So it even has command line parameters. You can automate queues, so there's no reason why you can't imagine running those things from Kabuto. At the moment, we really want to focus on making the core feature set really solid and having Kabuto be able to stand on its own. And then we will explore the idea of how we can best integrate TechSuite with Kabuto.
Yeah, definitely. But it's such a cool idea. It's really difficult to say no to that right now. But we've gotten just a lot of very particular requests regarding what we mentioned earlier, people like managed antivirus and managed applications and other features like that. So just the sheer volume, I think, is kind of like pushing us more in that direction initially, and also the core functionality of being said.
But I mean, that one cool thing is that app upload concept that Steven is working on. That actually would allow you to use TechWaru within Kabuto, because you could, once we add the ability to run command line parameters, you could run presets with it and have it auto close and auto upload report, and the customer would never know.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Well, it depends on which tools you would use, but
right. Yeah. Just so
but yeah, you could totally do maintenance on a schedule with Kabuto without us actually writing a TechSuite integration, but you could use TechWaru for it. So that's kind of a cool starting point, at least, until we write a legit integration.
Yeah, and actually make usage case polished.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question is, if you want to advance it, on the Kabuto pricing page it says, quote, unlimited free monitoring add-on for 60 days. What does that mean? Do you not pay anything for the first 60 days? Yeah, you don't have to pay for monitoring on devices for the first 60 days that you're using it.
We're up to 50 devices, right?
Yeah, the free plan has up to 50, and you can get free monitoring on those. Or if you upgrade to the growth plan, you can still get free monitoring for the first 60 days. Or any other plan, I guess. But
a lot of people seem to be on the growth plan.
Yeah, I find it surprising if they outgrew the growth plan within the first 60 days.
Although that would be
there's some pretty big shocks. But
I mean, it's 250 devices, so 60 days, 250 devices. You know, that'd be like what, 4 devices a day.
Yeah, it depends on the size of your shop, I think, and how integrated it is into your process. But I could see it.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely see it.
But yeah, free monitoring for the first 60 days.
Yeah, good question. Yeah, we definitely had to, I guess, iterate on the way that we communicate the concept of monitoring and what is free and what is per device and things like that. Initially, it was much more confusing. So I'm glad you're seeing it now. And there's always things to tweak though, so we should probably stay on top of that. But it used to be much worse, much less clear.
Cool. So it's 11:45. I think what we should do is, if there's any last questions, we'll stick around for another 5 minutes or so and answer them. But after that, I think we'll call it a day.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess last call for questions. And then in the meantime, you and I can play rock, paper, scissors.
No.
He's playing past the time.
I know. It is. We could play FIFA later.
Is there somewhere we can leave links, like something? I mean, I know Justin posted links in the.
Yeah, there's the showcase part, and I will put
Help Center article.
the Help Center article there.
That's the Help Center referring to how to use the webhook integration through Zapier. It's a relatively detailed article, but the instructions are relatively simple as well. So you should.
I know we had a more detailed blog post about it, I think, but we couldn't
That
find
was
that one.
the impetus for that Help Center article. When I took that, or I believe that was me. You're wrong. But whoever took the blog post and then tried to expand upon it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we've got another question. Do you pay for the monitoring on a monthly basis? Yes.
But the monitoring is monthly, and the base price is yearly. And this is a question asked earlier on, so it might have been missed or maybe not even explained very clearly. The yearly pricing is yearly just to have the leeway, I guess, to really use Kabuto and see the value initially. If you're, even if the price is the same and you have the thought of the monthly bill, it definitely kind of, it puts a pressure on you and the product to prove its value within the first month or two. And with putting an application on a client's computer and waiting for them to come back with an issue, that's clearly something that is very time dependent. And so that was kind of the concept behind the yearly pricing there. But again, we did our absolute best to keep the prices as low as possible. So hopefully that's.
I think it's pretty cheap. If you have 250
it,
devices on the growth plan, it's 4 cents
per device. Yeah, exactly. I mean, certainly a little less expensive than a few other programs out there.
4 cents is not too bad.
It's not so bad.
Yeah. Especially because one of those jobs could be $75, $150. I mean, that's a pretty good return.
Yeah. It just takes time.
Yeah.
But we're always taking feedback. So if for some reason that doesn't work for you, talk to us. Maybe other people are having the same issues.
Yeah.
We'll
let us
something out. Yeah.
We do try and make ourselves as available as possible to everyone. TechSuite or Kabuto customers or new people who are considering using the software. And listen, it's not for everybody. But we do want to have as open of a communication as we can, explain where we're coming from, and try and find a solution that works and hopefully grows your business. I mean, we talk about that a lot, but that really is at the core of everything that we do. It starts off all the discussions and guides development all the way through. We are trying to do that. So if you have any how we can do that better, then definitely let us know.
And we like to talk to our customers and understand the situations that they're in and the needs that they have, so we can improve our products and make it available for other people that may not be talking to us but are in the same situation.
Yeah, exactly. And that's definitely something that, for those of you who haven't gotten a phone call in a while, you'll probably be getting one from Michael, because he's kind of going to be handling a lot of that. So look forward to that. He's a great guy.
Hopefully he can make our customer service even better.
Right, yeah.
We've been kind of splitting customer service all over the place, and sorry, I need to get to this.
I'm pretty sure I know who this is, too.
Max, we got a question for you.
Yeah, I already said I do.
The confidence. No, great question though.
Yeah, great question.
Yeah. Keep that up. Keep pressure on Max.
Yeah.
Hey, Ryan.
Oren, it's a flag from a show called One Piece. If you haven't seen it before, I recommend you watch it. Though be warned, it's incredibly long.
Yeah. There's
Yeah,
There's like 800 episodes. So.
yeah, it's about that much right now.
They're only 20 minutes long each.
Yeah.
Still hundreds of hours.
Well, no, actually, I mean, when you put it like that, it makes it sound really bad. But you could get it done if you didn't sleep within 2 weeks. So
Yeah, it's pretty much like the most incredible thing ever. But
Yeah, when they hired me, they said, I was like, okay, so what's next? What's the best way that I can learn and kind of catch up? They're like, you're going to be watching a lot of One Piece. Step one, watch One Piece.
yeah, that was literally sad.
yeah, it's not like
Somehow Justin has managed to sneak by.
yeah, Jake's the only one.
I've watched One Piece.
Yeah, you've seen it. You've
Yeah.
seen it before.
They haven't put it on in the house in a while.
Yeah, he slipped by with a technicality, but you're right. We should just have that on in the background.
Hey, if you put it on, I'll watch it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. We should start doing that again. We did that for a while. Do that.
Yeah.
Brainwashed me.
Well, cool. I think that's about it, unless anybody has a final last-minute question.
Yeah. Ending on One Piece is certainly a great idea. I'm happy to end there.
Well, thanks everyone for your time and for tuning in and hanging out with us. We're definitely going to keep this up and try to have some more sessions like this. So it was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So give us feedback on it. This recording will be available online, and also hopefully everyone knows how to get in contact with us really easily. So let us know what you thought. If there's a way that we could have done this better, or if there's anything more that you would like to learn about us, where the product's going, if some better way to have a cool dialogue session, then we'd love to hear it.
Yeah, you can email us at support@repairtechsolutions.com.
Yeah, exactly. Probably should have said it like that.
Whatever. Anyway, so thanks guys, and we will see you later.
Thanks.
Thank you.